Beverly Cleary's own story is as lively and irresistible as any of her novels. She was born Beverly Bunn in McMinnville, Oregon, and until she was old enough to attend school, lived on a farm in Yamhill, a town so small it had no library. Her mother arranged with the state library to have books sent to Yamhill and acted as librarian in a lodge room upstairs over a bank. Beverly learned to love books there. When the family moved to Portland, where Beverly attended grammar school and high school, she soon found herself in the low reading circle, an experience that has given her sympathy for the problems of struggling readers. By the 3rd grade, she had conquered reading, and spent much of her childhood either with books or on her way to and from the public library. Before long, her school librarian was suggesting that she should write for the boys and girls when she grew up. The idea appealed to her, and she decided that some day she would write the books she longed to read, but was unable to find on the library shelves. Funny stories about her neighborhood and the sort of children she knew. In 1934, Beverly Bunn left home to attend college in California, where she imagined as the land of orange groves and movie stars. Far removed from the hardships of the Depression, as a young woman who was sure where she wanted to go but did not know if she could find the money to get there, she juggled studies of Chaucer and French grammar with the many chores that came with life in a student cooperative house. She also found time to eat a bacon and tomato sandwich with a quiet young man named Clarence Cleary. After graduation from junior college in Ontario, California, and the University of California at Berkeley, Beverly Bunn entered the School of Librarianship at the University of Washington, Seattle. There she specialized in library work with children. Work as a librarian brought her into contact with all sorts of youngsters, from the children of the unemployed to the offspring of doctors and lawyers. But it was the children who built scooters out of apple boxes and roller skates who truly inspired her. They asked, "Where are the books about kids like us?" And the young librarian responded with her first book, about a boy named Henry who had a dog named Spare Ribs, later changed to Ribsy. She was the children's librarian in Yakima, Washington, until she married Clarence Cleary and moved to California. The Clearys are the parents of twins now grown. Mrs. Cleary's books have earned her many prestigious awards, including the 1984 John Newbery Medal for Dear Mr. Henshaw for the most distinguished contribution to American literature for children in 1983. Dear Mr. Henshaw is about a little boy by the name of Lee Botts, who has been author Boyd Henshaw's #1 fan ever since he was in the 2nd grade. Now in 6th grade, Lee lives with his mother and is the new kid at school. He's lonely, troubled by the absence of his father, a cross-country trucker, and angry because a mysterious thief steals from his lunchbox. Then Lee's teacher assigns a letter-writing project. Naturally, Lee chooses to write to Mr. Henshaw, whose surprising answer changes Lee's life. her Ramona and her father, and Ramona Quimby, age 8, were named 1978 and 1982 Newbery Honor Books, respectively. Among Mrs. Cleary's other awards are the American Library Association's 1975 Laurel Ingalls Wilder Award, the Catholic Library Association's 1980 Regina Medal, and the University of Southern Mississippi's 1982 Silver Medallion, all presented in recognition of her lasting contribution to children's literature. In addition, Mrs. Cleary was the 1984 United States Author nominee for the Hans Christian Andersen Award, a prestigious international award. Equally important are the more than 35 statewide awards Mrs. Cleary's books have received based on the direct votes of her young readers. This witty and warm author is truly an international favorite. She wrote the Ramona series, which consists of 8 books. The Ramona books are centered around Ramona Quimby. The main action concerns Ramona, her family, including her sister Beatrice, known as Beezus, and various events in Portland, Oregon. They are: Beezus and Ramona was published in 1955. Ramona the Pest was published in 1968. Ramona the Brave was published in 1975. Ramona and Her Father was published in 1977. Ramona and Her Mother was published in 1979. Ramona Quimby, age 8, was published in 1981. Ramona Forever was published in 1984. Ramona's World was published in 1999. The Henry Huggins books follow Henry, who is a young boy living in Klickitat Street in Portland, Oregon. The novels take place in the 1950s, which is when Cleary wrote most of the books. The books describe several different adventures that Henry experiences in his neighborhood, as well as Henry's interactions with other neighborhood children. There are 6 Henry books, and they are Henry Huggins, Henry and Beezus, published in 1952, Henry and Ribsy, published in 1954, Henry and the Paper Route, published in 1957, Henry and the Clubhouse, published in 1962, and Ribsy, published in 1964. The Ralph S. Mouse books feature a talking mouse who goes on different adventures. These books were written especially for Cleary's son. He wanted to read about motorcycles, but could only find books that were too hard for him to read. So Mrs. Cleary decided to write the Ralph S. Mouse books, just for him. There are 3 mouse books, and they are The Mouse and the Motorcycle, Runaway Ralph, published in 1970, and Ralph S. Mouse, published in 1982. The wonderful thing about being published is that books written by that person will live on forever. It is comforting to know that Beverly Cleary's books will continue to inspire children to read for years to come.